What's going on, guys? I'm Mike Ashworth, and before we get started today, I wanted to show you something super cool, and that is my new fishing shirts. I think they're pretty awesome. Anyway, I've got this in black, I've got them in blue, got the logo on both sides. I think they're pretty cool. If you're interested in picking one of those up, send me a message, leave a comment below. We'll try to get one out to you. I know recently I've done a lot of videos on kayak fishing and kayaks in general because the kayak is new to me and I really enjoy it. In fact, it's one of my favorite ways to fish. However, I don't want my entire channel focused around just kayak fishing. I want it to be a much more broad fishing experience, a broad fishing channel. So I went through the comments and checked out some messages recently, and I've had a lot of messages and comments about wade fishing, about how to find locations, where to go, the type of gear and equipment that you need for wade fishing. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, it would be impossible for me to break down all of that into one video without that video being like 30 minutes long. So what we're going to do is I'll probably do a few different videos just to make these a little bit shorter. You can kind of pick what you want to watch, what you don't. Today, though, we're going to talk about the gear that you need for wade fishing, the things that you need, the things that you don't need, and some cool replacements and some gear and equipment that just makes life easier on the water when you're wade fishing. So let's get into it. All right, there's a ton of gear that you can get for wade fishing, and a lot of that's really helpful. Some of that stuff you don't need particularly. So we're going to go over the most important things first, and to me, the most important thing that you can have when you're wade fishing, surprisingly, is not waders. It's wading boots. And the reason I say that this is more important than waders is because here in Texas, when it gets super hot outside, pretty much spring all the way until fall, most of us don't even wear waders. We wear wading boots, though, and some swimming trunks and a fishing shirt like this one. And we just go out in the water and it keeps us cool because waders get really hot and it's already like 100 degrees down here. And so we don't want to make that worse. One thing that you do need, no matter what, is good wading boots. There are so many different types of wading boots that you can go with, and it's really important. In fact, this is the one thing that I really wouldn't skimp on quality for and try to budget completely, because this is one of the most important things that you can have, especially down here on the South Coast when you're constantly walking over oyster shells and things that can really damage your feet. In fact, I've got a good friend that decided to go wading and did not have wading boots. I think he was wearing just regular tennis shoes. And the oyster bed cut through all of that, sliced the bottom of his foot. I'm surprised he didn't go to the hospital that day because it was pretty bad. So how do you pick out good wading boots? One, you want wading boots with a good sole because of all of that sharp oyster and the rocks and everything else. And depending on where you're wading is going to really determine what kind of wading boot that you need. In fact, it's going to determine what kind of wading gear you need in general. But this is one thing, you definitely want boots that have good strong soles. You want them to be really comfortable, especially if you're going to be walking around all day. You want something that's comfortable, that is durable, that is high quality. You don't want things that are going to fall apart. Now, that doesn't mean that you've got to spend a ton of money. Like even these, they have great soles. They have the covering. Now, this is, you know, they say it's like a stingray protector. I've never really stepped on a stingray, but anyway, even these are relatively cheap and they work well. Now, they're not super durable. In fact, some of mine have already started ripping like this, but it's a cheap alternative. This is a much better investment. Now, I know that there's companies that make felt bottom wading boots, and I really wouldn't suggest those. In fact, they're banned in a lot of states already for all kinds of reasons. I'm not going to get into that. Moving on. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is actually waders. Now, I have a bunch of different waders here that I've used over the years. And waders is very dependent on you, where you're going to be fishing, what kind of fishing that you like. I personally really enjoy breathable waders. That way that I can, if it's cold out, I can wear warm clothes underneath my waders. And when it gets a little bit warmer out, they're breathable. I'm not a huge fan of neoprene waders, but you've got to do what works for you. If you like the neoprene waders, or if you're wading in a place that is cold, has colder water, colder temperatures in general, you're probably going to want those because they do keep you warmer. Now you can get waders from like $40 all the way up to literally over like $600. These, for instance, these are the Frog Togs, and a lot of people really like the Frog Togs. They, suggest them. I ended up finding these pair on the beach, and they ended up leaking. And then I took them in, I exchanged them, and then my new pair, after I think like 3 trips, they started leaking again. So you absolutely are getting what you pay for. I know a lot of people highly recommend those, but for me, I won't buy them just because I've had so many problems. Now, here's another very inexpensive pair of waders here. Now, these are Magellans that you can pick up at like Academy, Bass Pro, all of those. These have worked really well. I've used these for a year with no problems at all. They've got nice dry pockets. They've got pockets on the inside. They just, it's got a belt to tighten down. Still has the neoprene sock that fits really well inside your boot. I've never had these leak or have any issues at all. But I have recently, this is what I use now, the Simms waders. And I'm a huge fan of Simms products for a few reasons. Let me tell you why. One, Simms products have a lifetime warranty. So if you ever have an issue with them, you send them in and they're going to replace them. And I've heard that their customer service is great. I've never had to send anything into Simms, but I have some friends that have, and they've all said that, their customer service was fantastic. Sure enough, they sent it right back out. Brand new stuff. And honestly, the quality of Simms products, it is that much better. It really is. I like their products. I like their waders a lot. All right, so these breathable waders, they're going to have neoprene boots, and a lot of them, like these Simms here, they'll have these boot covers as well. And I really like those. Now, I know that there are some waders out there that have the hard boots included. They're like rubber boots. I'm not a huge fan of those, and I'll tell you why. One, when you're walking in like super soft sand, I've tried them, and I always felt that my feet were moving, but the boots, when they get stuck in that sand, it makes it kind of difficult to walk. So I'm not a huge fan of those. And my second reason is I can't wear the boots without the waders when it gets super hot down here. So you just don't have that option. You have to put on the full set of waders, and I don't like that. I like the ability to just wear my boots when it's really hot outside. But it may work for you. Do what works best for you. All right, next is a wading belt like this one. Now, do you absolutely have to have a wading belt to go wading? No, not necessarily, but it makes your life so much easier. This, my wife actually bought me this a while back, and this is from Everlast. It's super comfortable. It has like this really nice padding for your back. I really like it. What I don't like is the accessories, and I'll explain why. First off, it comes with a set of these like black pliers that have some kind of tether that clips down here. Now this wading belt does have a pocket, so you can put your pliers, and this is for your stringer. And I'll explain that here in a second. But the pliers that came with it, I don't even know if they're stainless steel, but they're super stiff. I didn't like them. Plus, I have really nice pliers from Landers, and I have some of the other stainless steel pliers. So I immediately swapped that out. You can clip it here so you don't lose it while you're in the water. It's super nice. Secondly, this is the stringer that comes with it. And it does the job. It works. If you're working on a budget and you want to use the stringer, there's nothing wrong with it. But it is rope, and I don't like rope stringers. And the biggest reason is because when this is all dangling in the water, even when it's in its pouch, see, it goes in like this. But when this is dangling in the water, chances are it's going to knot up and it's going to end up like this. And so when you catch a fish and you pull that up and you're ready to put him on the stringer, now you've got to untangle your stringer to get the fish on there. And so like when I did this, I literally like had to put a fish and hold it like a football and like try to untangle my stringer, which was a nightmare. No fun at all. So this was one of the first things after my pliers that I replaced. I switched to this. Now, these are cable. There's a ton of companies that make it. These are made by Stinky Pants, which I really like their brand a lot. Sounds really weird, but you know, this is a much better option. This doesn't get tangled up at all. It floats really, really well. The cable makes it run through your fish very, very easily without hurting them. And this is just a much better option. So I have added this to my belt as well. Now, the third thing that I'm not a fan of when it comes to this is these, this wading belt comes with this pouch on the back, and inside the pouch is a tackle box. Now, luckily, this entire thing is Velcro and it comes right off. And here's my problem with this. So this is located on your back, like on your lower back. And it's not so much of a problem when you want to get your lures out. You know, you reach back, you undo the Velcro, you get your tackle box out, you swap lures, whatever. Putting it back in, especially when you're holding a rod, is an absolute nightmare trying to figure out how to do that and lean forward. I've dropped this in the water a few times. But my biggest problem with what they give you here is this is not waterproof. And that's a huge problem because if you're wading up past your waist at all, when you do pull this out, this entire thing is going to be filled with water with all of your steel jig heads, and everything's going to rust. It's going to be nasty. You've got to like drain the box. It's awful. So instead of that tackle setup, this is what I use. Boom, just like that. This is 100% completely waterproof. This is made by Stinky Pants, also just like my stringer is, but it comes with this awesome strap so that I can throw it over my shoulder and I can still fish just fine. It's hanging there, waterproof. I don't have to worry about everything getting wet. When I need something, I just swing it back around my shoulder and I pop it open. And then I pull out whatever artificial that I need. And this is what I use if anybody's curious. Yeah, look at all that. Yep, that's money in there. So another thing that I add to my wading belt are these fish grips. These are stainless steel. They're super, super nice. You can operate them with one finger. You basically hook it into their mouth. They also float, and I clip this side to my wading belt so they're not going anywhere. Super great to have. Very, very, very nice. And it helps get that awesome picture because you clip it to your fish, you hold up the other side, and then bam, awesome photo. What's even better about these is that it has a scale inside. So when you put your fish on, you also know how much it weighs. And so it helps when you're bragging about your awesome fish. So must have for me. Do you absolutely need those? Probably not. All right, so I hope this video helped anybody that's new to wading or people that are looking into gear and trying to understand what they need, what they don't, some of the stuff that you don't absolutely have to have, but it's really nice to have. And again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every one of you. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, like, comment below, hit that bell notification so you know when I drop my next video. And thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it.